All right, Sooner Nation, gather round. We got something to talk about if you needed proof. Oklahoma is trending towards something special. Last Saturday's 44-0 dismantling of Kent State served it up. But more than just a tune-up blowout, it felt like a turning point. A moment where the identity the coaches have talked about began to show in little and big ways. Let's break down what jumped off the tape, what that means going forward, and why this win matters more than the score suggests. One of the most encouraging developments from Norman, sophomore defensive tackle David Stone finally getting his moment. After being one of the highest ranked recruits coming in, Stone's impact in this game felt like the emergence many expected. He helped anchor a front that swarmed the line and repeatedly disrupted Kent State's offense. That kind of physical presence on the inside is exactly what Oklahoma has needed to take its defensive identity from good to elite. This game's defensive line performance was dominant across the board. The Sooners threw 5 sacks, knocked down 13 tackles for loss, and held the Golden Flashes to just 17 rushing yards on 33 attempts. That suffocation, flashes of pressure, consistency and penetration, gap control, they were all on display. Teams across the country will now have to plan for the possibility that this Oklahoma defensive line is more than a trick or matchup. It's a real headache. That kind of disruption doesn't just win stats. It wins time, momentum, and field position. When your front forces negative plays, it frees up your secondary to tighten coverage, your pass rush to get home, and your offense to be more aggressive. Oklahoma's defense against Kent State didn't just survive, it dictated. With John Matier unavailable due to his hand injury, Michael Hawkins Jr. stepped in and delivered a performance that should turn heads. He threw for 3 touchdowns, ran for another, and led the Sooners to score on their first 5 drives. In a game many would call a gimme, Hawkins showed poise, efficiency, and a maturity that few backups get to reveal. Did he light up the stat sheet? Not massively. 162 passing yards, 33 on the ground. But in context, that stat line is solid context, as everything he protected the ball, made rhythm reads, and avoided forcing throws. That's exactly what you want in a spot start. He didn't have to be perfect, just competent. He was. But we also saw that Oklahoma's offense still carries questions, especially its ground game against weaker defenses. Yes, they rushed for 185 yards. That number pops. But many of those gains were modest, methodical, not explosion runs. Only one carry broke for more than 20 yards, despite Kent State entering the game as one of the worst run defenses in FBS. That suggests that the running game still hasn't fully unlocked, at least not consistently. If Hawkins or Matier is going to lead a complete offense, the run game must grow more reliable. Still, in week 6, in a true test of depth, Hawkins answered. If Matier returns, that's ideal. But now the Sooners know they have a guy who can step in and not let them collapse. That's a valuable asset down a grueling stretch. In games like this, stars shine. But sometimes it's the supporting cast that separates teams from pretenders. Isaiah Satania was one of those guys. 2 touchdown catches, 75 receiving yards, plus 97 punt return yards. That kind of spark in the return game gives an offense hidden movement and gives defenses pause. His presence alone forces attention. Then you have contributions from Jaden Nutt and Tate Sandell, who drilled 3 field goals, including a 55-yard bomb. The role players answered. They didn't steal the show, but they didn't have to. They supplemented. That depth matters, especially as the calendar turns back to the SEC gauntlet. Injuries are inevitable, fatigue sets in. If your starters need relief, the second wave must carry quality. Saturday showed Oklahoma's bench is better than just participating. So what's my main takeaway? Oklahoma's 44-0 win over Kent State was more than a dominant score. It was a validation day. The defense showed it can operate at an elite level. Hawkins demonstrated calm under center. The supporting cast held up the standards the coaches talk about, competing regardless of opponent, felt lived in. But now we get to the real test. The Red River rivalry isn't a friendly unveiling, it's a measuring stick for all the pole movement, all the dominance over non-conference foes. The question is, can this Oklahoma team rise under pressure? Can they maintain edge, discipline, and execution when the stadium is split, noise is high, and stakes are national? Texas may look vulnerable now, but they'll bring focus, fire, and their best game. Oklahoma will need the physicality of that defensive line and the calm of a quarterback.